So tell me a little bit about this experiment you just did.
Well, in this experiment, our goal was to determine if Albertsons or Safeway produce is more expensive and by how much. Our parameter of interest is the true price difference between items in Safeway at Albertsons and Safeway. Our null hypothesis was there is no difference between food prices of items at Albertsons and Safeway. Our alternate hypothesis was there is a difference between food items at Albertsons and Safeway. The conditions we needed to check were that food and items were randomly selected, the selected items were less than 10%, and that more than 30 items were selected. We will be doing a t-test match pair for our test, and we can assume that the price of the same type of item is the same within each store. So to begin, our method of data collection involves multiple parts. To start off, what we did was we randomly selected each store. By that I mean we labeled each store 1 to 3 for all the stores in Linwood for Albertsons and Safeway. Afterwards, we put 3 pieces of paper labeled 1 to 3 in a hat, S to represent Safeway and A to represent Albertsons. After we place the papers in the hat, then we will select 1 piece of paper from each hat, and then that will be the store we will use for our experiment. After we have picked up the stores, we will find a list of all the produce items sold at both stores. Since there are age restrictions and other restrictions, we will then filter out anything we legally can't buy. We will then label each item 1 to 423 with no repeats, since that is the amount of items at both stores. Then, using a random number generator labeled from 1 to 423, we will randomly select 30 items with no repeats. Each item corresponded with the number that we labeled them to. After we have randomly selected each store and have gotten our 30 items, we will then go out to each store, find each item, its price, and record. After collecting the data, we will then add together the total cost of the sample items from Albertsons and Safeway separately and determine if there's a price difference in our parameter of price of items from the 2 stores by using a t-test for mean. After doing the test, we arrived at a p-value of 0.89, which is longer than our alpha value of 0.05, and a t-value of 0.139. Since the p-value is much larger than the alpha value, 0.05, we do not have convincing evidence that there is a price difference between food products at Albertsons and Safeway. Therefore, we fail to reject the null hypothesis that there is no price difference between food products at Albertsons and Safeway. We do not have convincing evidence for the alternate hypothesis that there is a difference in price. To conclude, our original question of Albertsons or Safeway produce is more expensive and by how much was answered at the end of this experiment. Therefore, since we found all the prices of all the 30 items, we found out that Safeway was more expensive by $7.60. And that's it.